As I said, in the US and UK, this has been quite prevalent because a lot of stock is held by the institutional investor. The capital market represents the institutional investors 90% and retail investors less than 10%. Unlike in India, which is other way around. Given that these institutional investors are very active and the activism is very buoyant there, and I just want to share a couple of very recent examples. In the case of Cognizant, these investors activism group have brought up two different issues. We have in India the directors' term as 3 years. Even in this particular company, they have been following that the directors are appointed for 3 years and they are reappointed for reappointed after 3 years. But they have proposed that is not 3 years is longer period. They have to go through this process every year. They have to get re-elected every year and see that they are contributing. They have to bring their progress card to every shareholders meeting every year and then win the vote of the shareholders, and then only they should continue. That is one thing which they have proposed. Meeting is yet to take place. And the second, again very, very important, one shareholders group have proposed that if any shareholder is holding more than 10%, they should have a right to call for the special shareholders meeting. And they have also, represented before the SEC and asked, but even the management also thought there is some merit in it, and they have, considered instead of 10%, the shareholder group holding more than 25% should be able to call for the special shareholders meeting. Management started listening, regulators started listening. That is in the case of Cognizant. The other case, the shareholders rejected the city CEO, Vikram Pandit's 15 million compensation, given he has not delivered this performance, but it is a non-binding vote because they don't have the majority. But the message has been communicated. They got only 24% of the votes. Therefore they could not. Despite that, the resolution could go through because the other side had the voting of about 74%. Even in the Coca-Cola, there is a case. Again, the part of shareholders have brought up a new resolution saying that consumer concerns have to be met. Please pass a resolution that consumer concerns in terms of packaging and all have to be met. The management has listened to that and they are working on it. This is the global scenario, which are very, very recent. Yes, this is the hot subject, the Coal India. We've been seeing, listening, and there is a write-up on every day on this subject. The biggest problem here is government is trying to wear multiple hats. You are a regulator, you are an enforcement agency, you are a shareholder, you are a customer. You also have to take the public interest into the consideration. Now, I think there is a dichotomy which I think government also is trying to resolve. Now, this particular fund, the pension fund, what Coal India is doing, they sell coal. Now, they are subsidizing. Government has given a dictate to them. You must sell it at X price. The market price is 2X, but they said you must sell it to X. And there has been a lot of pressure on the independent directors from these investors group. You cannot accept this. As a shareholder, I am losing. Then the president order came, given that is a public sector company, president order first time is invoked and passed, and they did not have any choice except to listen to the president order, and then now they started entering into the supply agreements. These people have threatened to take a legal action. So far they have not taken the legal action, but what they say is they are in the process of taking the legal action. Maybe the larger interest, if something comes to the judicial forum, I think there may be principles will emerge. I think that will give a direction to the government and the public sector companies. Merger of Sisa-Gova and Sterlite Industries, not criticized by the various investors because only the promoter is trying to get out of the huge debt burden which is sitting on the Sterlite Industries. Therefore, this has been the scheme has been proposed, but nevertheless, because again the promoter is having the majority, the scheme went through. This is the research publication which I was referring to, which has brought out kind of sensational reports on the biggest of corporate names in India, DLF, Reliance in Communication, Kingfisher, Reliance Industries. It's very difficult to make that kind of statements against these biggest corporates, but they were bold enough to criticize and bring those issues to the forefront. So all this is what it says is active engagement. Be transparent, be accountable, and take care of the interest of the larger shareholders, not alone the promoters, is what it is communicating. If you see, a couple of more examples, investors are going extra mile. When the Maruti strike took place in Gurgaon for 30 days, 40 days, investors went and spoke to the the laborer who were on strike. Their money is at stake. They are responsible to their principals, their partners who have put in money. But that's a good initiative. I think there's nothing wrong about it. I think these are all the constructive things which are happening. And if you see the other side of the thing, the Crompton Greaves is holding a jet, private jet, which which is costing maybe a few crores. People are, the promoters, the managements are using for private purposes. Investors have openly criticized. You don't need it, you hide it when you need it. And the promoters have decided to sell this to the group company and bring some liquidity. You don't have liquidity and you're spending money, in buying the private jets. This is the order of the day. I think the ecosystem for the shareholder activism is getting developed in India. One of the a few initiatives the SEBI has taken. The first of them, in 2010 itself, the SEBI has mandated all the mutual funds, whatever position you are taking on a particular resolution, wherever you have an investment, that has to be communicated in your website. So you can't somebody to force them to vote, but at least what you are voting and justification for that has to be communicated in the website as well as the annual report. Now this is one step, but a lot more needs to be done. And as Sir was telling in his presentation, we have seen this emergence of two proxy voting advisory firms, which are not even 1 year old. But you see any newspaper, people talking about shareholder activism, there is a reference to this. Without this, that doesn't end. The first one is promoted by Anil Singh. He was with he was the managing director of Gujarat Ambuja Andal. He has been the activist of the shareholder democracy, and he is the the founder of that. And recently BSE has taken a stake, and Fitch Rating has taken a stake, and HDFC has taken a stake. It talks about what is the significance of this. Similarly, the Inbound Research Services, this is based out of Bangalore. This is one of the Infosys ex-employee has started, who was working on the wealth and wealth vertical side. Now Mohan Das Pai has invested in this, and there's a lot of activity which is happening. So what these proxy advisory firms are doing in the space of shareholder activism. These are the few things they do. Substantially, the key thing is vote recommendations. I think the great difficulty the institutional investors have the bandwidth and the capability to analyze and take a position on a particular resolution. As a fund manager, I talk to the management day in and day out. If I take a the position which is contrary to the management, I don't know whether I will be respected. I don't have enough guts to do that. Maybe if there is an independent agency which examines this and gives a recommendation, this is in the interest of the company. This you may go for the resolution, or it's not in the larger interest of this company, then you go against the resolution. I think as a fund manager, I am more safeguarded, and I am going by an expert opinion. I think that is what these vote recommendations which they do. They do for top 500 companies. They do a research and then advise to the institutional investor. They don't advise the retail investor, but those recommendations are available in their website, which can be used by any of us. These are the few corporates where the recent transactions have been advised. There were the proxy advisory firms have taken a position and given a various recommendations. In the case of Fortis Healthcare, the promoters have a healthcare business outside India, which is very, very substantial. They have acquired over the last 2 years over 6 companies, spending around 500 million. Now, all of a sudden, one fine morning he says we are merging that into the listed company, which is entirely owned by the promoters. Now they have decided to merge that in with the listed entity. Against the 500 crore they have spent last 1 year personally. Now they say it is 700 crores value. Now this has been criticized across everybody, and again there was an independent valuer who was been appointed, and after the evaluation was done voluntarily, because the old majority, nobody could kind of ignore the resolution, or they would anyhow pass the resolution. They have reduced the consideration from $665 million to $695 million to $665 million. Around $30 million they have reduced the consideration. So that is the kind of saving that listed entity has gained because of this activism. Hexaware, it's their recommendation is on the annual general meeting. Now, these proxy firms came out with their own best practices. Now, somebody, an independent director who is more than 6 years, loses his independence, is what they conclude. And similarly, I think we are also talking in the Companies Act, there's a time frame for the independent directors, where they can continue for 10 years, 20 years. There are independent directors 15 years, 20 years, 10 years. So wherever there's a director who is getting reappointed, beyond 6 years, they say you please vote against them. They do a very, very detailed research, which their age, their qualification, their experience, how many companies they are board members, and whether they have enough time, whether they have enough experience, how long they have been doing, whether how many meetings they have attended, taking all this very, very elaborate analysis of various aspects, they come out with the conclusion, a justification, whether they are advising for or whether they are advising against. They conclude. In this particular case, one independent director reappointment, they said to please vote against. Similarly, the auditor appointment. Auditor's appointment, they are looking at two aspects. One, how long this audit firm has been doing the audit for this particular company. Again, they have set a kind of benchmark which says if that same firm is audited for more than 6 years, they again lose an independence. Therefore, they should be changed. That is one parameter they see. The second parameter they see, if their non-audit income is more than 25% of their total income, even there they construe, I think, they may lose independence because their priority is to get the income from the other services, not from the statutory audit. Then they take these two parameters and then do recommendation. I think the audit firm which was there in this, they have recommended to vote against because these two parameters they are not able to meet. Divi's Laboratories, our Hyderabad-based company, here there was a 314 resolution. The managing director relative was getting appointed. Appointment no issue, but the remuneration which they have proposed, again they have analyzed very, very elaborately. They have taken the peer group remunerations across their peer group and then analyzed. They found that the remuneration what they have proposed is significantly very high. The fixed pay has gone up by 90%, and then variable pay with all that it is going much beyond what is being followed in the industry. They said you please vote against. This is what their recommendation. Mostly Rail Commodities, all of them they have looked at the auditor appointment and directors retiring by rotation. These were the recommendations, and there are a lot more recommendations on various aspects, including there are mergers and those kind of transactions. Today it looks like very, very interesting, the shareholder activism. So far what has been progressed, the kind of issues they are raising, but I think it is too short a period to kind of assess whether it is a true spirit, whether it will help overall corporate India. But I think globally what it communicates, that it has the positive impact, positive result to the corporates and the investors community. Maybe it will take a little more time. This is catching up. But as corporate professionals, I think we need to play a very, very significant role and see that we make a significant contribution to the corporate activism, so that as once corporates are doing well and they are doing the right thing, I think the economy will grow and we all will be significantly benefited out of it.